we can significantly reduce the waste by getting rid of a massive problem in this industry, which is the problem of mismatch between the expectations of buyers downstream in the supply chain and what they're being supplied upstream. So by reducing the mismatch issue, you can diminish considerably the amount of waste in this industry, thereby also long-term driving down the price of fruits and vegetables.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech2Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Hello and welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today I'm with Amir Whiteman, an experienced licensed investment advisor and asset manager who has been involved in asset management since 2004. From 2010 to 2017, he served as a senior investment advisor for Bank Hapoalim, Israel's largest bank, and in 2017 he established Champel Capital with Ari to harness the power of Israeli technology investments. He holds a Bachelor's of Arts and a Master's in International Relations from the Geneva Graduate Institute of International Studies and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Amir Whiteman, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thank you. Great. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm really excited to dive into your journey over these 20 minutes today with Champel in the venture capital space for quite some time, and in investments in general for a long time. Part of the time with the Bank Hapoalim, working with also some management of portfolios of some really phenomenal people, and today with Champel Capital, and I'm especially also excited to hear about the story of the formation of Champel Capital, because I understand that there's a little bit of a personal story as well to it, which those are the stories that I love the most. And so Amir, it's really good to have you here and really good to be speaking to you. Tell me a little bit about your own relationship with an investing. You chose to go into the investment world. Why?
Well, I was born in Israel, but I grew up in Switzerland, in Geneva. I spent there 20 years. So, when you come from Geneva and you think, what am I going to do in my life? Then I guess finance / banking / all this world is the most natural, right? Because Geneva is the world's capital in terms of asset management, probably one of the world's capital in any case. Private banking, certainly. So since this is the case, when I was looking for a job, that's a while ago already, I thought, what direction am I going to go into? So I thought, let's become a portfolio manager, which is what I became. And I worked there for a few years. Then I went into banking, being an investment advisor in Bank Hapoalim, which is the largest Israeli bank. And, but working in a bank is not the most exciting job that you can think of. So I actually, had an opportunity early 2017 when my best friend from where I grew up in Switzerland, we actually were together in kindergarten when we were 3 years old, literally. And we were in a primary school afterwards. So we remained in the same class for 7 years, and then we stayed all our lives best friends up to now. So he actually did very well in life, and Ari Ben Gigi. And so he called me early 2017. He said, listen, you understand about finance, about all this world, let's invest in the Israeli startup nation, right? In Israeli tech, and let's open a VC shops. We originally invested private capital, his own, and friends and family and a few clients. It grew, we're doing well. 3 exit out of the original 14 investment. We have 3 investment which have exited already, a 4th one about to exit, a 5th one well on its way. So we're doing well. And so we decided, that's how we advanced. But as time advanced, we decided it's going to be easier to have a full-fledged fund instead of every time, having to essentially fundraise on a deal-by-deal basis. So we created our own fund this January, 10 months ago, and we're carrying on our fundraising for another one. And in this second fund, we have officially made already 5 investments. The 5th one about to be announced in the coming 2-3 days. So I'm not going to say anything yet because it's not official yet, but it's signed. And the 6th one, hopefully next week. So there's action. And I have to say, I love the tech world. I love the venture world. I think it's fascinating. I think that I'm bringing an interesting, a bit different experience coming from finance, from asset management and banking. But I think, it's really upstream when you think about VC as opposed to banking and finance, right? And public market. But it's really, really interesting. And it's fascinating to see the world of tomorrow being shaped today by entrepreneurs. And you can see what really drives the world. And I remember of this book from Ayn Rand about the Atlas Shrugged, right? The Atlas being the entrepreneur holding mankind on his shoulders. And it's true. And I think it's true to a very large extent because you can see how new technologies are being created by the most amazing people on earth who've got incredible ideas, incredible abilities to create new technologies, new stuff, which eventually is going to improve everybody's lives in every single industry. It's amazing to see it happening in life.
Yet you need to focus as an investor. You need to focus on specific types of entrepreneurs, specific types of investors. What is your orientation, I guess? What excites you about the investments that you make?
Great. So I would say, as you said, you have to focus. So the world is great, is large. There are great entrepreneurs all over the world. But we are in Israel, and Israel is per capita by far the number one VC ecosystem in the world. And even in absolute terms, it's one of the leading ecosystems in the world. There's plenty of amazing entrepreneurs going around here. So we decided, first of all, to focus geographically. We're only doing Israeli companies, nothing else. Second of all, in terms of where we are, in terms of being not, we raised around $30 million, so we're not a very large fund. So I would say later stage deals are off the table, almost by definition. So we don't want to be, in any case, in late stage deals because we want to create very significant revenues. Returns rather.
Right.
ROI and IRR, which are more difficult to have in later stages. So by definition, we're going to have to go at an earlier stage, but not too early because I would say pre-seed and seed are very, very, very highly speculative, right? It's very difficult. So you need to find some sort of a balance, right? Between being too late, too early. So our sweet spot is around Series A, a bit before, a bit after. But it's really Series A when we see that companies have got already some commercial traction, when they've got already a product, when we can assess the market and we kind of know where we are.
Yeah, and in terms of the areas that excite you most, you talked very candidly about the building the future of tomorrow and worlds changing and colliding. What are there specific things that you can think about and say, okay, these are things that I'm saying like, wow, these really excite me. I want to be a part of the transformation in these industries.
Yes, for sure. So first of all, I would say we love agri-food, agri-tech and food tech, because, this is
we just talked about that before we started.
Yeah, we just talked about that before we started. It's really, when you think about it, the world is facing a huge challenge. We have already 8 billion people on Earth. Within the next 30 years, where we were expecting to have the population of the Earth growing from 8 to around 10 billion people. So this is a huge amount of people, and of course, we need to feed all these people. And it's not only more people on Earth; it's also people's standards of living, thankfully. Being better, increasing which means that people who are I would say, on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale globally, right? So poor people becoming less poor, which means they're going to eat more and better. So all this is really making, is creating a huge need in terms of increased agricultural production. That's on one hand. On the other hand, it's people who, who are conscious of the fact that, you need to be careful with what you eat because, cardiovascular disease is the number one killer in the world. You need to eat better. We all understand that. So, and there's also the climatic challenge, of course, the climate challenge, CO2, etc. So you need to have ways of eating which are much more sustainable. We are an impact fund in that respect. So let me give you two very short examples in food tech. We invested in Aleph Farms. Aleph Farms is amazing. It's a company which is cultured meat. So the idea here is to have real meat, and I ate it. Where there was the first public tasting of the product early November, just 3 weeks ago, and I took part in it. It's amazing. It's good. It's meat. It's completely meat. Just it doesn't come from a cow. It's just grown in a lab. So it's astounding because it's high quality. It's really everything you want from the meat, just not coming from a cow. So you can cut 99% of the land use, of the water use, of the energy use, and have your meat. So that's an example. In terms of sustainability, of course, the advantage is great. We have another company where we invested called Remilk. So Remilk is a company where you are duplicating the DNA of milk. So you create milk proteins which can give you dairy products which are coming from real milk, right? It's not pretend milk. It's not like soya milk. It's real milk. Just it's not coming from a cow. So again, you get rid of 99% of the land, energy, water, etc. So this is the sort of stuff which I find extremely exciting. It's transforming the way we eat because we're creating new products which are going to be tasty, because that's the first thing you want when you eat is that it's tasty, but also healthy and sustainable. That's an example. We also invested in a company which this is the company we spoke about before, Clarifruit, which is doing essentially QC, quality control on fruits and vegetables, thereby reducing dramatically the waste in the food and vegetable industry, because today almost 45% of fruits and vegetables are essentially lost in the supply chain, which is almost half when you think about it. It's completely crazy. So we can significantly reduce the waste by getting rid of a massive problem in this industry, which is the problem of mismatch between the expectations of buyers downstream in the supply chain and what they're being supplied upstream. So by reducing the mismatch issue, you can diminish considerably the amount of waste in this industry, thereby also long-term driving down the price of fruits and vegetables. This is life-changing.
One of the things that you mentioned and that I saw, when talking about your work, is that you're really looking at the vision of entrepreneurs. Let's talk about that a little bit. And because I think it connects nicely to what you were talking about before with your interest in, the way that the future is changing and unfolding through the entrepreneurial landscape. So let's talk a little bit about vision, how you see entrepreneurs, working with vision, how you identify entrepreneurs that are visionary from those that aren't necessarily as visionary, and what types of visions excite you personally.
Well, as I said, what does it mean to transforming the world? But it's a big word. What does it say? So what I like is people who can imagine a world which is different. What's a vision at the end of the day? It's imagining the world, looking at how it is now and how it can be tomorrow if you do things differently. Right? How do you solve problems and create a new reality? Because that's what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So, one company which is solving a huge problem is a company where we have invested this summer. It's a company called Indoor Robotics. Now, the problem is that you need to safeguard and indoor spaces like offices, like warehouses, data centers, plants, whatever. Now, this is extremely expensive. Now, what's the problem with that? Is that it drives up, it makes everything more expensive. So all the production process is becoming more expensive because of the way we simply protect all these offices, right? At the end of the day, of course, all these expenses are being paid by the end clients, right? So how do you drive down security cost and thereby the whole production cost? Because security is simply one, if you want, what was a part of the production cost or the global production cost. So by cutting the costs there for the companies, you can drive down the cost for everything and make everything really more efficient. So it's really making one item in the whole production process cheaper. And the amazing solution that they have, and I think it's the only company in the world which does that, is to have these indoor drones, because you have thousands of companies globally which do drones, right? But how many companies out of these 1,000 companies actually do drones inside in indoor spaces? I don't know many of them. And they have found this crazy way of doing it by having the drones also docking on the ceiling and charging there, and they're actually patrolling in the indoor spaces. And in terms of robotics, it's an amazing breakthrough technologically and conceptually, and this will allow again to drive down production costs by making the whole safety and security cost cheaper. But again, that's just the first step, because the second step is that you can use this technology for a lot of different applications. So I think in terms of robotics, you can see how robots are going to make human beings redundant in a lot of applications, jobs, which is going to allow for human beings to do other jobs with higher added value, therefore making everybody wealthier. So I think it's amazing how the economy works, how technology works. In terms of vision, I think it's a great company. You can see they have it, and they're succeeding. They're signing contracts, huge contracts with clients, and it's a startup, right? And it's really working. So this is the sort of stuff that you can see that it's going the right direction.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And once you do partner with entrepreneurs, what is the relationship like from your experience?
Well, I've been blessed. I can tell you something. I have on our board, we have one of our medtech entrepreneur who we took as on our advisory board. So I think it just shows that I think that our entrepreneurs like working with us because we love them. So generally, when you love somebody, then love tends to be a two-way street, right? So when we don't believe in micromanaging companies. We don't believe that our job is to know better the entrepreneurs about their job, about their companies, about their market, right? So if we would have thought that, we simply would not have invested in a company. We invest in a company because we believe in the team first and foremost, of course, and therefore we see ourselves as simply enablers and as people who are here to help them succeed. That's all. I can't do the job of these entrepreneurs. They're all much smarter than me. So I'm the dumb guy in the street, if you want. So I'm just here to help them succeed and opening doors for them and giving good advice. And we've got a lot of experience already in terms of business. So I think our advice is sound and helping raise capital, which we've done for many companies. And this is what I see our job as being.
And what is the best part about your job, if you had to think about, what makes you really fulfilled and, sort of why you do what you do? What is really the most fulfilling and
success
part?
Success. When you see that the business is progressing, that you're creating value, that your idea, which when you start at a company at this stage, it's mostly an idea with, as I said, little validation from the market. But when you see that actually real clients who come and they say, you know what, your product is good, your service is good, I want it, I'm willing to pay for it. So what you are seeing is that your vision and the entrepreneur's vision is being translated into reality. I think that's amazing.
I like that. I really, really do. Because I think that at the end, it's, I think that, and it just comes up throughout this whole conversation, sort of where your interests are and how excited you are, and the details in which you go here with the companies that you work with, I think really shine light on, how invested you are, not just capital, but in terms of, energy and then mentally into the companies that you're with.
I think about it all the time. I work about all the time. It's really incredible, but it's great. Awesome. I love it. I really love it.
Amir, I really want to thank you for these 20 minutes.
Thank you, Michael.
Highly, highly appreciate it. Wishing you best of luck with Champel Capital. And I love the story of how it started and who you're doing it with, going all the way back to kindergarten in Switzerland, and obviously the journey along the way and the motivation. So thank you very, very much. Best of luck and stay safe and stay healthy.
You too.